Hi, this is Robert Clinkenbeard and David Anderson with the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. We're going to take 20 minutes of your life to deliver some amazing content from accomplished leaders and business owners to provide you some value, to help you scale your business, to become a better father and push yourself to higher goals personally. We hope you really enjoy these shows, and we really encourage you to share this with your friends and network to help share these messages. I'm super excited to announce a new partnership we have with Site Recon. If you're tired of measuring properties, the Site Recon platform fully automates the measurements so you can then focus on sales. Think measurements, think Site Recon. This is Robert Clinkenbeard and David Anderson with the Commercial Landscapers Podcast. I am extremely delighted today to be joined by Josh Flynn. You're out of Portland, is that correct, Josh?
Yep, out of Portland, Maine.
Cool. Well, thank you for joining us today. Josh, tell us a little bit about you and how you joined the company. You're part of Seabreeze, is that correct?
Yep, Seabreeze Property Services.
Cool. So tell us a little bit about how you joined them and your move up this position within the company.
Sure. Yeah, so I joined Seabreeze in October of 2016 as a plow truck driver and a supervisor. I'd worked for another small landscaping company for about 6 months, and Seabreeze was the largest and fastest progressing company in the area. So I wanted to make a change. Fast forward 6 months from there, I took on a project manager role, helping on mostly the maintenance side. 6 months forward from there, was promoted to director of operations. So helping all the other project managers kind of move the ball forward. And then about a year later from that, took over for the departing CEO as a co-president alongside another guy named Chris, who'd been with the company for quite some time. And then this past July, kind of moved up into the CEO role for the company, and been doing that, for the past 8+ months.
Okay, awesome. That's a nice career growth there. We're probably going to focus mainly on the personnel side today, and David's going to jump in with some questions. We'll probably take turns. But talk about what do you think some of the reasons are behind that success you've seen in becoming president of the company?
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to like the landscape industry, there's a lot of hard work that needs to be done. I have like a first in, last out sort of mentality, and really trying to, and kind of as I progress through the company and manage different groups of people, tried to play a very like strong supportive role and not so much demanding, but kind of encouraging. And I feel pretty strongly about, folks work a lot better and are a lot more efficient, a lot happier if they want to do the work rather than they feel like they're forced to. And that's pretty much the mentality that I brought, over the past 4.5 years. And I think that's helped because like, I don't get to where I am now without the support of, all of the other 100+ members of the Seabreeze team. And it's been, super rewarding to work with them along the way. And my hope is that, from where I sit now, I can continue to help their careers progress and just create more opportunities, as the company continues to grow.
Yeah, I mean, do you get any type of feedback from the other employees within your team that, they've seen you come through this tremendous growth within your career? And does that inspire them to better themselves within the company?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, when I first started, I mean, Seabreeze has been around for 26 years. So, some of the folks I'm working with now have been here for 15, 17 years. So kind of as the new guy, like trying to break in, you got to try to make a good impression. And I think, taking their advice and learning from them along the way definitely helped. And they've been, I kind of judge it on like, the retention that we have within our management team and the retention that we have among our line employees. I mean, our senior leadership team has been kind of together now for, the better part of 2.5, 3 years. And then, our average tenure for our line employees has increased from, a little over a year to a little over 2 years. And that's kind of been over the past 24 months. So I use those as kind of just like general metrics to say that we're doing the right stuff. And hopefully we can just kind of keep moving forward.
Very cool. David, do you have any questions?
Yeah, Josh, so as you've moved up, and into, different areas of responsibility, you see a lot of times in leadership where people come in and they have their own ideas or different things. Tell us about how you learned and adapted as you went up through the different levels. Were you, I have everything figured out, listen to me, or were you a watch and listen, learn, help type of guy, or what's been your methodology?
Sure. I think it's a little bit of both, and that may be like a kind of a cop-out answer, but definitely more leaning towards the like observe and learn and take in, and then kind of push out what you get from that information. I think, it's kind of naive for me to think that after 6 months in the industry, I can lead a group of 15 to 20 experienced landscapers and kind of tell them how it's supposed to be. Sort of the way that I've tried to manage from that perspective is like, you guys give me all the feedback that I can possibly get. Try to make it, present it in a constructive and like, positive manner. And let's figure out what we can do to fix any problems that we have and like expound upon the things that we're doing well. A lot of good things come from the field and, from middle management. And at the same time, like sometimes they're just looking for you, like, just give me the answer. Tell me what you think we should do. And like, I'm happy to fill that role as well. But I take a lot of feedback. I consider myself much more of a player's coach, which has its faults, but I think in the long run, it builds a stronger team altogether.
Yeah, that's great. I think some key learnings, as you outlined there. Something you just said is you learn a lot from the field. Did you find that maybe hurt you a little bit, or how did you overcome with them that, here's the new guy telling us what to do versus learning from the experienced guys, but also then getting people to look at things in new ways?
Sure. I think, from a project manager side, when I first had that group of 15 to 18 crew members, it was, again, that like first in, last out mentality. If they work Saturdays, I work Saturdays. And that was typically when I would work with them out in the field. And, they get a kick out of you being on a mower for the first time, or blowing mulch for the first time, or doing something that, shows you're a little bit maybe vulnerable in your skill set, but are willing to learn. And hopefully that encourages them to do the same. That's really what helped me also gain like a lot of respect and rapport. They just want to know you're working as hard as you are, as they are, particularly in a small business setting. They want to see you out there. I love walking the yard in the morning, encouraging people before they leave for the day. Gradually, as I've kind of moved up, I've had a little bit less opportunity to do that. But I try to always build that in. Those are just some of the things, and that's the same with any like level of management within the company. They expect you to be here. They expect you to work hard, and, they look to you to provide an example. And if there's something you don't know, be honest about it and try to take it, in perspective and learn from other people around you. Because then you get better, and then they, maybe they learn something from how you evaluated in the end.
Yeah.
But
Robert, if I can ask one more, and then I'll jump them back over to you. Again, something you just said of the earn respect versus a title entitling you to respect. Kind of goes to the title of my book. Here's a shameless plug, Robert, sorry. But leader is not a title. Again, leader is not a title, shameless plug. But anyways, talk a little bit about that, because I think that's one of the biggest mistakes people make in leadership is look at my new title, do as I say, versus earning the respect that comes with a title.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I certainly don't, when you speak with people, the first thing you don't tell them is your title. And oftentimes when people ask me like, oh, who do you work for? And I'm like, oh, I work for Seabreeze Property Services. What do you do? Well, I'm the CEO, but like I work for Seabreeze Property Services. I think it's the FaceTime, it's the rapport, and it's listening. A lot of the guys in the field, And even in middle management, like they have problems and they have issues or they have ideas. And if you kind of have that open door and you can like establish strong lines of communication, like your title doesn't become a barrier to them either respecting you or like wanting to meet with you or wanting to converse, and ultimately like make things better. I think it's tough when you're kind of slotted in a position, and it takes time. Like it takes time to build that respect. It takes time and hard work. And again, like if you do it with an open mind and you take everybody into consideration as you set out new rules or new ways of doing things, like if they see a piece of their ownership in that process or can tell that you've paid attention, you've listened, yeah, I think that goes like such a long way to, gaining that respect and moving forward.
No, I agree 100%. And I like a couple of things you said about, obviously you're being humble by not even necessarily coming up front with your title. That's something I often used to do in my business. I just came along and just observed and listened to people. I didn't push my title. But then, you said something earlier around how you were just open to hearing from others in ways in which you can improve. Because I think that's the case with, even established people who've been in business for many, many years, that, just having that openness to learning from others and hearing criticism and ways to improve. I think that's a great attitude. How do you learn in other ways? Because obviously you can learn internally within the company, but do you have any type of outside resources, whether you're working with the parent company or whether you're part of any other groups or
Sure.
listening, to audiobooks or anything? How do you learn, sharpen the saw?
Yeah. I mean, I try to read as much as I can, probably outside of industry stuff and like more like general business things. Like surely, David, I'll look to pick up your book and see what I can glean from that. But, I do have a tremendous benefit from being a part of a parent company group, portfolio companies, whatever you want to call them, where there's several other landscaping companies that are, owned by the same company. And like, I have all of those resources, CEOs from those companies, heads of sales from those different companies that, are doing different things in different markets, but we're all in the same industry. And like, I see that as a tremendous benefit as like the collaborative group that we are, under Chenmark. And like, I definitely take a lot from that group in particular. We've been involved in a peer group for a couple of years, at the parent level. But I've been, lucky enough to participate in some of those meetings with companies from, Texas and Connecticut and Minnesota and Louisiana and California. And just, again, it's always the biggest thing that I gain from that is that you don't get to talk to people who are in your position as often as you would like. And to kind of go back to what you just said, Robert, about, getting feedback and being evaluated, like as you work your way up the ladder, like there's fewer and fewer people to tell you when they think you need to do something different. So it's always nice, like, within Chenmark, we can constantly, evaluate each other, share financial information, share strategy, and at times, like, just like share your issues and your problems to somebody else who just gets it.
Right.
Because that's one of the best things for sure.
No, that's awesome. So yeah, definitely the peer groups make a huge difference. As you've seen your growth through the company, what are some of the ways that, now you're in a different position, you're actually able to make a difference within not only your company, but Chenmark in general? What are some of the ways that you feel, or maybe even you're doing already, that you can make a clearer path for people to excel within the company, get those promotions, better themselves?
Yep. I think, one of the things we've done in the past couple of years is open up new lines of service. We never used to be an irrigation company. And, while we only have 2 or 3 techs who are kind of doing that work over the last couple of years, like it's definitely provided an additional opportunity. We've done more on the, fertilization, pest control side of things, which has added a couple of positions as well. So I think, kind of expanding our service offering has been one way of doing that. We've been fairly aggressive, at least in the last like 12 to 18 months on, both organic and acquisitional growth. I see the growth of the company, not just as like a reward to the bottom line, but also like creates more positions within the company. So, we opened one branch last year, which was the first branch we've ever opened. So, that really allowed a couple of folks to advance pretty quickly, as well as opening up another couple of like lower management roles. And then we're about to roll out another branch here in the next month or so in another target market of ours within the state. That again is giving, in one example, like a frontline supervisor, the opportunity to be, an associate branch manager or whatever the title ends up being. So those are ways that we've kind of encouraged, growth and advancement throughout the company. And just providing as many opportunities as we can. So that's a strong sales and business development effort, and make sure that the train, keeps on moving. And, we never stop hiring. We're always hiring for talent. If I may not have the perfect role for somebody, but if somebody comes across our door that, really has what it takes and is a good fit, then we'll make space for them. I think those are some of the ways we've tried to encourage, employee advancement. At times, like, I wish it would go faster. I think there are a lot of guys that deserve, more of a shot than they're currently getting, but that takes time. And it needs to be sustainable and in the right way. But, again, our retention numbers have been continually climbing, and we're super happy about that. And we love the group of guys that we have. I think that's kind of how I think about it.
I've got one last question, David, and then I'll pass it back to you. So with those new service lines you've been opening and just overall being a progressive company, do you think that's helped with attracting employees to your company? Because that's one of the biggest challenges I hear with not just in our industry, but multiple industries, is we're trying to find good employees.
Sure. It's definitely helped. I mean, paving is another line that we did kind of ad hoc, but have gone a little bit more, headfirst into to try to open up that division within the company. And for us as a 12-month service company, in the Northeast, you get about 7 to 8 months of what we call ground services, which is all the construction, all those other things. And then basically we turn into a different company when it starts snowing in November, and everybody gets jumbled up and everybody becomes, a snow division employee. So it's great to be able to attract, more skilled employees in different areas that, come wintertime, like everybody ends up being on the same team. But I think it's definitely helped. It shows that we're trying to expand and trying to give people new and different opportunities. Because I mean, for landscaping in general, we are completely employed by local labor. We don't utilize H2B or any outside sources. Not necessarily by design, but that's just the way that we've always done it. And my personal preference would be to hire guys in our local markets, because that seems to be what our customers like. But that's kind of how we've handled it. I think that's what's worked for us, along with robust benefits packages and incentive programs, and paid for uniforms. Like we pretty much do whatever we can possibly do to help retain and bring in good solid employees. And I always wish that we could do more, and it's the first place I look to invest for sure.
Cool. Awesome. David?
Josh, Robert, we got time for two more questions?
Yeah. We could do two more.
Okay, great. So Josh, going back to kind of the leadership side of your business as you've gone, how do you groom your leaders, your future leaders? You're a growing company, expanding, year-round services like you talked about. Do you have a formal program or mentor, or how do you continue to, bring future leaders through the organization?
Sure. I wish it was as formal as there was like a written handbook or something on paper, but transparently, like there isn't. I feel like we've designed a framework around, division managers, and we've been working really hard on building out what sales and business development looks like. And it's been a little bit, constantly evolving. But in terms of, me personally, I do a tremendous amount of coaching. I meet with our team members, our managers, our supervisors. Our door is my door is very, very open. And I take every opportunity that I can to kind of coach and mentor. And I try to use myself as an example of like, no, like this is possible. You can do this. Like I did it. Here's what I would suggest. We do, formal reviews or however people would classify that. But I participate in a lot of operational and sales meetings. I try to basically get as much face time with our managers as time will allow. And just, keep my, fingers on the pulse of what's going on and just help them in any way that I possibly can.
Cool. My final question, what's been your greatest learning since becoming CEO of the company?
I don't always get it. I don't have all the answers. I don't always understand. But if you have really, really good, solid people around you to support you, I think a lot of people view a CEO or the top of the pyramid as someone who's constantly telling everybody else what to do. And, this is how I want it done. And I very much think of it as, I'm there to support them, and kind of help guide them in the right direction. But, I don't know who said it, but like, you don't hire people to tell them what to do. You hire them to tell you where you should go or how you should function. And I believe pretty strongly in that.
I think that was Robert who said that, Josh. He's pretty famous.
That's fine by me.
One of my many famous sayings.
That's fine by me.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you because I thought you had some amazingly great answers right there. Be a servant leader, help others and they'll do a better job for you. So that was just a great response, and congratulations on your success. I see why you're able to do some of the things you've done.
Well, thanks, David.
Yeah, well, thank you, David. Josh, we're finishing up here, but if people wanted to get hold of you, just to learn a little bit more about your journey or about Seabreeze, how would they do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the easiest way these days is like to connect with me on LinkedIn. I mean, if you want to post like my email address, with the podcast, like that's totally fine. Just as much as I try to make time for all of our team members, like I love talking to other folks in the industry and learning what their challenges are and what their successes are. So yeah, whatever's easiest to kind of put out there, I'm totally fine with.
Cool. Well, Josh, Flynn, thank you very much for your time today. Really appreciate your time, your wisdom that you've shared. As David said, congratulations on your success within the Kenmark organization. Look forward to talking to you soon.
Super. Oh, thank you both. I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hopefully that was pure dead brilliant for you today and you got some great takeaways for your business or your personal life. This is Robert Clinkybeard along with David Anderson, and would love to get you and your friends to join us in our future journey. 2 quick things before you go, listeners. Check out our website, commerciallandscapers.com. You can subscribe, you can share with your friends, but more importantly, check out our new sponsor, Site Recon. We're going to make your sales process, your estimating way easier so you can spend more time in your proposals. Thanks everyone. Cheers.